is to try to make food that not only tastes good, but will also look very similar to our everyday foods. I hope these recipes will make her daughter feel like she's not missing out, but able to enjoy things just as we do. And she wishes the same for all of the allied metabolic disorder community, which I think we can all appreciate. Finding foods that are easy and similar to high protein versions. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Amber, and she is going to run the show here. And like Amy said, we're going to be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions, the best way to ask Amber is to go through the chat, and Amy and I can communicate that to her. So Amber, hit it. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you for the introduction, Heidi.
Real quick, sorry, Amber, we are going to record this. Just wanted to give everybody an FYI that we're recording so that we can make it available to people who maybe weren't able to join us. And with that, you got it, Amber.
Okay, thank you. I am very happy to be here and to hear what a turnout we've had. Some of the recipes we're doing today are ones that are very simple to make, but are easy to incorporate or for other things, or just to make on a whim. So the first thing we're going to start with is the deviled eggs, because we need them to set in our mold, which I have. You can see here I have my Bunny Rabbit mold. Found this at the dollar store. So, and Walmart has some too that are egg shaped. But that way you can set it in here and refrigerate it, and it's ready to go. You can just put it out and serve it when you're ready. So we're going to start with that. We have 1 can of coconut milk that we're going to put in there, half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to mix into our saucepan, and the agar powder, which is like a vegan version of gelatin and much lower in protein to use. We're going to mix that into our coconut milk also, and that's what's going to firm up the coconut milk in our mold. Get that stirred, mixed in. There we go. And then we're going to turn our stove on medium. Give that a chance to kind of heat up and thicken. If you're looking for more of an egg flavor for these, you can sometimes find these in specialty markets. It's India black salt. It has that sulfur flavor that you can add to it while still, for those who are vegan and don't actually want the eggs, or for us in our community, we want to make it as close as possible. So we're going to give that a chance to heat up. I already have my yucca root for the filling peeled and on my stove over medium heat, cooking like you would potatoes with, you put the yucca in there, peeled and then diced, and heat it up on the stove until it's fork tender. So I'm keeping an eye on that.
Amber, can I just make one quick comment?
Sure.
When you add the ingredients, we did send out the recipes to all the attendees, but could you just say I'm adding 2 teaspoons of agar powder or whatever it is?
Yes.
Just
yes.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yes, and she's correct. It was 2 teaspoons of agar powder, half teaspoon of salt, and 1 full can of coconut milk. That's for the egg base here. So that's what I'm trying to bring to a slow simmer so it starts to thicken. Once it thickens, I'm gonna use my syringe that I have. If you have a small ladle or a spoon or something like that, you can use to help transfer over here. That works fine. But the syringe makes it a lot easier without making a big mess. And the yucca root, I measured out 175 grams for the filling, and I have that, like I said, on my stove over medium heat till it's fork tender, because we're going to use that for the filling. And it's going to have a very similar texture and flavor to normal deviled egg filling that would usually be used with egg yolks. There we go. It'll thicken up quickly, so you definitely don't want to walk away from it and leave it sitting. So as soon as that heats up, we're going to move this into our mold. And the fun thing with this is if you wanted to decorate them for Easter, since Easter will be coming up in about a month, you can add food dye to this and dye the eggs. And then it'll be like a fun thing for the kids. Kids can definitely help with this. All right, keep an eye on that. Is that okay? Thicken. Check. Now, once we get the filling or the egg mixture into the molds, it's going to take about half an hour to set. So I'm going to move that into the refrigerator to set while we work on the ground beef mixture next. You can see it slowly starting to thicken up right there. So we're getting there. Should only be a few more minutes. Basically, the main reason for heating this up is to activate the agar powder. You want it to kind of dissolve completely into this milk mixture so that it'll set properly. And add a nice thickness to it. So yeah, we're definitely getting there. You can see that there, but we're getting there. All right, now we're looking good. And again, you just want it to a simmer here. That's looking really good. So we're gonna go ahead and turn this off. Perfect. Move this over here. And now we're gonna move things into our mold. There we go.
I'm glad to see that you make a mess also, Amber.
Oh, yes. You're not a cook if you don't make a mess, to be honest. Just comes with the territory. Kind of has a mind of its own sometimes. So. There we go. And we're just going to fill up all these cavities with our filling, our egg mixture.
Amber, if people don't have a little syringe, do you have a suggestion?
Sometimes small ladles will work. I wouldn't use a pastry bag necessarily because again, this mixture is really hot and that'll just not work out very well. It'll be really hot to handle. Maybe an ice cream scoop. If you have one of those with the spring handle releases, that might work.
We have someone using a turkey baster as well.
There
That's
you
another
go.
option.
That's a great idea. There you go. That is a great idea. We're definitely getting these filled up. And then we're going to put this in the fridge, let it set while we work on our ground beef mixture. So after this, If you guys want to get your ground beef ingredients ready, we'll be jumping into that. Okay, I can use a little bit more on this one over here. Okay, I'm going to move this one into the refrigerator to set. Clean my mess up there. All right. Okay, now we're going to jump into our ground beef mixture. Trying to keep an eye on my yuca root at the same time. Almost ready. And okay, the first thing that you're going to need for the ground beef is 40 grams of diced onions. You're going to need a small skillet because we are going to saute the garlic and onions to kind of get that nice flavor into our mixture. You're going to need a little bit of olive oil or vegetable oil, or if you even like a little bit of butter, you can do butter. Okay. Oh, hold on. Forgot that. Skill will work on there. I'm going to use this one. There we go. All right. Get that going. Again, you got 40 grams of diced onions that's going in there and 1 clove of garlic that's minced. So that'll be going in there, saute that. While we're waiting for this to heat up, we can go ahead and put our cauliflower in our food processor. This is 200 grams worth of cauliflower florets. You know, I cut up as much of the stem as I can, and they're, you know, at least small chunks so they won't take as long to chop. So we can go ahead and put that in there. I'll go ahead and pulse the cauliflower a little bit. Since it has a firmer texture, it takes a little bit longer to mix together. You're gonna want to pulse it. There we go. It's almost heated up. Okay, cauliflower is nice and pulsed here. Can you see? There we go. We're going to mix it up with the jackfruit and the mushrooms too. So as long as it's smaller pieces, it should blend nicely. Go ahead and put our onions in. Our skillet is ready. So let that saute so they're a little bit translucent. With a little bit more oil here. There we go. Red onions have a stronger flavor. That's why I like to use them a lot in my cooking. But if you want something with less potency, a white or yellow onion will work just fine. Or even a shallot, which is very delicate in flavor. Go, we're looking nice and translucent. Even a little bit of browning on the onions, which is fine because it just adds flavor. We're going to throw in the garlic and only saute this for 1 minute because you don't want that garlic to burn. And then we're going to move this into our big mixing bowl. That's smelling good. Hope everything's smelling good on your end, guys. It smells good here.
Amber, we did have an attendee ask if they can use the agar. I don't even know how to say agar. Is that how you say it? Agar.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. They're wondering if you can use that for other gelatin type desserts.
Absolutely. You can make your own Jello using that. You can mix it with fruit juice to make your own gelatin. So you can definitely do that. You can make like a, gelatin dessert using like little shot glasses by using that. Different flavors, different, you might be able to make the fruit molds. I know I've seen lots of recipes on Pinterest of ways of using the agar powder. So definitely a lot of options out there. Okay, so we're gonna get our mixing bowl. Our onions and our garlic out of here so they don't continue to cook. Okay, that's great. Okay, now we're going to continue on with our food processor. We're going to add in our 100 grams of mushrooms in here with the cauliflower, and then we're going to do our jackfruit also. This make sure when you do, you take the seeds out because they can hold quite a bit of protein. That's what they look like. So I do remove those. I rinse this really well, then I squeeze out the excess liquid because this mixture we're going to bake it a little bit, dry it out, so we don't want a whole lot of excess moisture in there, and it also helps remove some of that briny flavor that we're not really care for. So I'm going to put that in our food processor here. Here we go. All right. We're going to blend this so it almost looks like so it's gonna be, you don't want it to mush, but you do want it to have some texture to it. So we're gonna, there we go.
Hey, Amber, it looks like your audio has gotten a little garbled between the two cameras. I don't know if.
That's probably the food processor.
Okay.
So I apologize for that.
Yeah, some folks are just having a hard time hearing you as well.
Well, yeah, I'm muted on this one. So, is everybody hearing me okay right now?
I can hear you okay. Let's see if I get any more comments in the chat.
Okay. Processor on. I won't say anything at the moment.
It does sound a little weird to us too, like you're in a tunnel kind of.
Well, let me try one thing. Is that better?
A little bit.
Okay.
Oh, much better.
That's much better?
Yes.
Okay. How's that?
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I apologize for that interruption, but I'm in the process of processing the cauliflower, the jackfruit, and the mushrooms to have a ground beef-like texture. So I'm going to turn the processor on for just a moment. There we go. That looks really good. Okay. Now we can see that that has a nice fine grainy texture. Which
Hey,
will help.
Amber, the video we have now is of you, not of your bowl. And we love seeing you, but we also want to see your bowl of ingredients.
Can you see the bowl at all?
Now we can. Perfect.
Okay. I apologize for this. Ended up with feedback. That's all.
It wouldn't be a Zoom call if we didn't have technical issues. So no worries.
Can you hear me? Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to. I think I'm gonna have to leave one of these. I think unfortunately for everybody to hear me that I had to leave one. So I'm gonna make an adjustment here. All right, I apologize for the interruptions and the interference, but can everybody see that there?
Yeah, it looks great.
All right, so now we're gonna add this mixture into the sauteed onions and garlic mixture very gently. I did see a question. If you guys can get your yuca started boiling, yes, go ahead and do that because we're gonna use that for the filling for the deviled eggs. You can go ahead and put that on your stove over medium heat until it's pork tender, similar to as if you're gonna make mashed potatoes. All right. Now we've got our mixture. We're gonna go ahead and add our 2 tablespoons of coconut aminos, which is a soy-free version of soy sauce. And you do want to be careful because there is another one called liquid aminos, and it's not the same thing, and it will be higher in protein or fee for us. This is the brand that I found. They do also have a liquid one, and I think it still has soy in it, but you want one that's labeled coconut aminos. Yes, that I use that brand also. That brand will work. You're going to want to mix that in there. So it's going to add a little bit of flavor to it. I know that when I've spoken with Heidi, she says she likes to add in Rich's seasoning broth, which will add some flavor to the ground beef. So you're welcome to use that. I'm going to also. Yes.
Here it is. I know a lot of people use this, but if you haven't seen it, you can buy it on Amazon. They have like a brown and then they have like a chicken flavored. So they're both great.
Yes, and you can use this mixture as a chicken base also if you want to make a chicken patty. So you can use that for that kind of a meal also.
And we've had a question about whether or not you can freeze the mix, like in a patty or a portion. Does that work?
Yes, I freeze it all the time. And then when my daughter says she wants tacos, I'll just break off a chunk, throw it in a pan, saute it, add some taco seasoning, and it's good to go. It works and freezes so well. So that's a nice thing. It makes a nice big batch, but you can break it up however you like. You can make meatballs out of it. You can make hamburgers out of it, taco meat. I've made sloppy joes. I put together like a impromptu hamburger helper one night for her using this mix. I mean, it's so universal. It's so great for so many different things that I'm so happy to share with you guys. Okay, so now we got that all blended together. If you wanted to have a little darker color to it, You can use this bouquet seasoning. I mainly use it just to give it color. You don't have to use it, it is optional. And now from here, we're going to move this to our baking sheet that should be lined with foil and sprayed with cooking spray. Prevent it from sticking, and then we're going to stick it in our oven at 350.
Amber, I have a question. Do you think you could bake this like on a parchment paper so you don't have less dishes?
Not on a baking pan.
No, still just parchment paper over a big baking sheet.
Oh, yes, I have foil on mine. So yes, you could use parchment. Foil is, in my opinion, a little bit better than the parchment would be, because sometimes when I go to move it, the parchment slides. But basically what we're going to do with this is we're going to bake it for about 20 minutes. We do want to dry out a little bit so that it can crumble as we need it.
Okay, and then a tablespoon of this.
Right, you kind of see that's nice and even.
Hey, so we wanted to show ours too. We had portobello mushrooms, not white mushrooms, on hand. So it gives it a little bit more of a brownish color.
That's a good idea.
So just can change up the mushrooms.
That's a great idea. All right, 20 minutes on there. Okay. Perfect. So let's get this out of the way. Your root is done. I have strained it. I'll show that to you here in just a moment.
We did have a question come in about the jackfruit seeds.
Yes.
And the question was whether they had more protein in them.
They do. As with most seeds, pumpkin seeds, things like that, the seeds do have quite a bit of protein. Now, if they can be baked and roasted, for others in the family, they might like roasted seeds and things like that. I know that can be a common thing to use them for. So if you don't want to throw them out, you can roast them. But yeah, as far as for PKU or other metabolic disorders, they can be on the high side. Okay.
Amber, can you show us your baking sheet? Are you just using a traditional big baking sheet?
Traditional baking sheet, such as one like this, except mine was a little bit bigger to fit all the filling on. The one with opens on it, if you have one.
Okay. And do you spray it with like cooking spray or anything?
Yes, I line it with foil and I spray it with cooking spray to prevent it from any of the stuff from sticking on it. All right, if we would like, we can move into the filling for the deviled eggs. Are you cooked, ready to go? Gotta put everything back in my pan to make the filling. All right, it's hard to see there, but it is done. It is cooked. It is tender. So I'm going to use you can have to use a potato masher. You can use a fork. But in this case, I'm going to use my potato masher to kind of mash it. It even has a scent just like potato. So, and the nice thing is, it is lower in protein to use.
The yuca, somebody is asking about how many grams of yuca. It's 175 grams.
Yes. Which means I will usually buy a yuca root, peel it, then weigh the 175 and then cut it up.
Amber, somebody's also asking if you can't find yucca root, can you use potatoes?
Yes, you will just have to adjust the fee or the protein content in its exchange. So yes, you can. You can also do guacamole as a filling if you like. Some people do like that. But yes, you can use potatoes in its place. If you have like a spare serving of mashed potatoes, you can probably just use that and just add the mustard and the other ingredients to it and use that as its filling. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in the 2 tablespoons of rice milk now to help give it that creamier texture, mix it together.
The recipes are located on Cook for Love, on the Cook for Love website, and they were also emailed out to every participant. So you should have the recipes, but you can also find them on the Cook for Love website.
Yes, absolutely. I try to post most of my recipes there.
And Amber, people are asking if you can show us the mashed yucca since we can't see your bowl anymore.
Yes, I will. I absolutely will. I apologize for that difficulty.
Oh, that's okay.
We can go ahead and email out PDFs of all the recipes to everyone afterward as well, so that you have them handy.
So here I am, still trying to get it mashed in. I'll go ahead and add in the mayonnaise. Again, it'll help give me the creamy texture and help it to blend. You can kind of see it starting to get a little bit creamy for our filling. This is a potato masher that also has a ricer on it. So it gives it like a double run through as I'm mashing it. It looks like
I don't know what's going on in everyone else's kitchen, but my kids are eating all the strawberries. I just want to say we're going to be low on strawberries by the time we get there.
Well, I promise you, we'll be getting to those very soon. As soon as we get this one done, we'll be moving on to those strawberries, and they're very quick to make. So hopefully we can get them there quickly. When I make them, they can disappear so fast that I've had to make double batches. And they just, as soon as I make them, they're gone. They don't last long. Okay, now we need about 3/4 of a teaspoon of mustard.
Amber, can I ask a quick question? I have not ever used yucca before. I mean, I've had like the fried yucca chips, but does it look a little bit, kind of has like a white powdery center sort of when you're mashing it up?
Yes, it kind of will. Here's the root itself. But yeah, it kind of will have a little bit of a powdery look to it. It's not exactly like potatoes. It's just similar. It is a starchy root.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that this was normal.
Yes. It should blend together nicely as you start adding the ingredients together. I am going to add a little bit more rice milk to mine because it did thicken up quite a bit. Okay, we also add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And the mustard will add flavor, but it also adds that yellow color, which most deviled eggs have, obviously, from the egg yolks. A little bit more rice milk, mine. And these can be made up to a day in advance. So if you need to make them the day before Easter, or maybe even 2 days, you can do that. I just wouldn't make them too much further out than that because the eggs themselves will dry out. There we go. That's looking much better. Is everybody still hearing me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
And if you don't have a potato masher, a fork will work just as well.
Fork will work fine. You don't want to use a food processor or anything like that because it will become very gummy and gooey, and we don't want that kind of texture. But this is looking much, much better. There we go. And then if you wanted to have more yellow color to it, you can add some food coloring, yellow food coloring. Again, this is also something else you could color for Easter.
Tastes good.
See that looking nice and creamy now? There we go. Okay, so our filling is ready for the deviled egg. I'll go check it out.
Okay, we're gonna check our eggs. Look at the lemon.
Mine are ready. They're nice and firm.
Yeah, they feel good.
And if you want, you can carve out a small hole if you would like for the filling.
Check our hole.
Some like to do that, some don't. And if you want to, that's perfectly fine. But you're basically just going to take some of the filling. You can use a pastry bag with a tip if you like, but you're basically just going to put your filling right here in the middle. And I'll show this to you as soon as I get it done. All right, I'm getting these filled up real quick, and then we'll sprinkle them with some paprika, and then they are ready to go. I would say probably about a teaspoon and a half. Nope, about a teaspoon of filling per egg.
Amber, is it okay to put the filling into the egg mold if the filling is still pretty warm?
The eggs are already set. As long, yeah, I would go ahead and let it cool for a few minutes. Mine has already cooled down quite a bit just from adding the rice milk and the mayonnaise. But yeah, if it's still pretty warm to the touch, let it sit for a few minutes and then go ahead and fill.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna show because I want people to see. So I'm gonna show the non-chef version here, so everybody feels better about what theirs look like. We've got the we've made a few here. A little too much paprika on this one. Tried our best, but I'd say they look pretty decent, all things considered. This is the first attempt at our house, and so I'm sure Amber's are going to look beautiful. But for those of you who are new at this like us, you know, this is what it looks like. And this one's oozing out, so I'll just pull it out and show you. Look, that looks like a deviled egg.
Goes.
Wow, this is amazing. Awesome.
Beautiful. And if your kids want to give them a try and let us know what they think, that'd be great.
I must be slow because I am still mixing my mixture.
But very well done. They did a great job. All right, that's about how they look. Again, this can be served right out of here as a serving tray. They can be moved into a container. Beautiful.
Owen's really proud of his. We had a little extra, so we just put it in the middle. We're gonna have one giant deviled egg.
That's all right. Perfect. Good job. Looks great. So those are all ready. I'm gonna move my filling out. We're gonna move on to the strawberries. All right. These are, I promise you, going to be a favorite. My daughter, who is extra, extra picky about everything, will actually beg for these. She's asked for them 3 times this last week. And if I didn't have time, then she's very upset. Okay, so basically with the strawberries, you gotta cut the tops off and you gotta dig out a cavity right into the strawberry. I use a melon baller. You can use a spoon if you like, or maybe a tip of a icing tip might work also. But you want to have a cavity to put the cream cheese filling in.
So this is a melon baller. If anybody was looking for one, mine has 2 different sizes. But you can also just use a spoon or whatever you have convenient.
Perfect. So this, I'm using the Veal Life cream cheese today. You can use the Daya. That's what you have available. This is a 1/4 cup of the cream cheese softened. So you can see me pushing on that. It's nice and soft. 2 tablespoons butter, also softened, because again, we're going to mix it with the cream cheese. And then you have 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar, and we're just going to add a small splash of vanilla. So let's go ahead and add the cream cheese to the butter, and we're going to blend that until it's nice and creamy. You can just use a spatula. No need for a mixer. It's just so quick and easy. And we're just going to work on blending that all together. So it's nice and smooth and creamy. The butter and the cream cheese are incorporated well together.
I just want to say that, Amber, you make that look really easy and beautiful, and we're struggling a bit over here. So if anyone else is struggling, you're not alone.
Is that the cream cheese or the butter?
I think it's well, I don't know. We left them sitting out for about an hour, but we're just struggling a bit.
If you're having trouble mixing it, you can stick it in the microwave for maybe 3 or 4 seconds. See if that makes it soft enough to combine. But you don't want to do it too long because you don't want it to melt. So that might be a quick little shortcut if you need to. 1 small square of butter there. There we go. Okay, once we get that nice and creamy, we're going to put in the powdered sugar. And we're going to combine that. Okay, that's nice and mixed together. Add just a little bit of vanilla. You could also do, if you don't have vanilla, you could do almond extract. Again, you just want a small little drizzle. You don't want too much. There we go. About a 1/4 teaspoon. Mix that in. And I don't know about you guys, but the strawberries I found were gigantic. So I tried to go through and pick out the most average size strawberries I could, but the ones that I found at the store were huge. I had some like this big. Here we go. And we're going to fill it. I'm just going to use a spoon to fill these with. Again, you can use a pastry bag if you like, but it works just as well to use a spoon. And we're just going to fill those cavities just like that. Go, get nice and filled up, and then we can sprinkle them with powdered sugar. If you're wanting a kind of a tasty thing to give a try, if you have balsamic reduction or drizzle, you can put that on the strawberries. It goes really well with this. It's actually a very common flavor combination.
Trader Joe's has a great balsamic glaze. Here's a picture of it.
There you go. Yep, perfect. All right. Almost filled up all my strawberries. This filling makes about 12 strawberries, give or take based on the size of the strawberry and the depth of the cavity.
While you're doing that, we have to show off our eggs because we finally got made.
Oh, look, beautiful.
I'm gonna take a picture for our or for our Intermountain PKU. There we go. I got to get out of that.
All right, and how's everybody doing? My strawberry slid a little bit faster. And perfect timing because it looks like the ground beef mixture is almost done itself.
So Amber, do we go ahead and stir the ground beef mixture now?
Yes. And then there's the strawberry. So here we go. Check on that. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and stir this some more. Okay, give that a stir. We're gonna put it in. That'll go in for another about 15, 20 minutes and it should be ready to use. Oh, beautiful. Do they taste good?
Our strawberries, well, they haven't eaten them yet. Let's see.
Oh.
They were just eating the filling off their fingers, so.
They enjoy cooking today?
Dude.
Take one of these out. You can use for these eggs other non-dairy milks. The texture may not be quite the same. So that's why I like to use a canned coconut with the full fat. The creaminess helps give it that creamy texture of an egg white. Yummy.
I tried the first strawberry and they're amazing.
Oh, good.
Favorite.
It'd be a great after school snack. I'm glad you liked it. Well, while we finish up the ground beef, does anybody have any questions or any suggestions they'd like to add?
Amber, we'd love to hear what kinds of things you use the ground beef mixture for.
Okay.
What kind of dishes?
Yes. Well, one of the most recent recipes I created was a steak using the ground beef mixture. And I don't have it out here in front of me, but I basically took a good portion of the meat. And if you don't have any of the Camembert patty mixes, you can probably use the wheat starch to help bind it. Because you kind of do want it to have it to hold its shape. And I basically just seared it both sides until it was cooked, hot all the way through. And then you can serve it with steak sauce if you like, and cut it. I was able to actually cut some strips out of it. It was still soft in the middle, but at least was able to have steak one day while we had steak. And she did eat it. Oh, my daughter did eat it okay. So then again, she's very, very picky. I've also made taco meat with it. I have not tried making nuggets or anything like that yet. I've made like sloppy joes with it. I have made like a hamburger helper kind of combo, sauteing the meat and then adding it to the pasta with the sauce. I've made hamburgers. I usually just cook them on a skillet. I haven't really tried it out on the grill, but I will do that this summer and take a look and see how well it comes out. Basically anything you need to substitute for the ground beef will almost work. If I don't know if I would do it in soups unless it's like a last minute addition, because it might soak up a lot of the liquid. So if you're just going to add it to the soup last minute, it'll probably be fine. And I saw somebody else ask about non-dairy cream cheese.
Right. The question was, what do you have a favorite brand or version of the low pro cream cheese?
Okay. My daughter really likes Daya, the plain Daya. She'll eat that with a spoon. If I do something like the Via Life is good too. I like it just because it is low and I can do a lot more with it that way. But I created like a fruit and veggie board for her for Valentine's Day. And I put together a cream cheese and fig butter spread. And she really enjoyed that, eating it with crackers or putting it on bread. So honestly, Daya is the most common one I find. So that's usually the one that I buy. Okay, there's a question about the meat not drying out in the oven. It should still stay pretty moist. The mushrooms can hold quite a bit of moisture. Jackfruit still has some moisture in it, but you don't want it to dry out too much. So if it looks like it's getting too dry, go ahead and take it out and stir it and make sure it's not losing too much of its moisture. If your oven might run a little bit hot, you can turn it down 25 degrees. That could also keep it from doing that.
Amber, one thing that we've done with that ground beef recipe is, like you said, you add the taco seasoning. So we take our portions out of the freezer, and then like regular taco meat, you're supposed to add a little bit of water while you're sauteing the meat with the seasoning. So I do the same thing. I add a little bit of water because I do like when the ground beef is kind of dried out a little, because I think it gives it a more meaty texture.
Yes, it's a very good suggestion. Yeah, if it looks like it's getting too dry on the stove, then yes, definitely add some liquid to it. Broth is fine. Water's fine. If you're trying to do something a little bit special, maybe a teeny bit of wine, because the alcohol will cook out, but it'll add flavor. I mean, it can almost do it anyway as you would ground beef. I mean, it's going to be very comparable to it.
Yeah, we've used it for like a pulled pork kind of sloppy Joe type filling.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I usually make my own sloppy Joe sauce, but you can use the can because you're not going to use a lot of it. Maybe like a teaspoon per serving, because it'll go far. That's still looking really good. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Mine was just in for another 10 minutes and it's getting that nice texture to it. You know, you can kind of press it a little bit. It's going to start holding a shape. When I do cook, and I will do videos later of other ways of using this and how I generally will use it. Like I said, if you got wheat starch, it will help bind it better. So if you want to make patties and meatballs with it, wheat starch will help. You can also use the camembert patty mixes, you know, to make sausage patties or Italian sausage crumbles to put in pasta, things of that nature. But again, if you don't have those and you do have wheat starch on hand, you can use the wheat starch in its place. How are we on time?
We are just getting ready to wrap up. If there's any final questions, please feel free to write them in the, oh, let's see. Did you spray your pan before cooking the meat? Yes.
Are we talking about in the oven or if we on a skillet?
In the oven, like before you put the ground beef mixture in the oven.
Absolutely.
So this is a neat trick. If you line your baking pan with foil and then you spray it, nothing sticks, and then you just fold up the foil and throw it away, and then you don't have to clean the pan.
Yes, that is always a helpful hint.
If all of the rest of you can appreciate this, Cook for Love sinks, people with low protein diets have really full dishes.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see any final questions. We'll give people maybe just like, what do you think, Amy? 1 or 2 more minutes to chime in if they have any last minute questions for Amber. When we send out the recipes, we'll include Amber's email address. She said you're welcome to contact her. And yes, somebody just asked if the fee amounts are on the recipes. They are. You'll find them right on the Cook for Love. I noticed that the deviled eggs, it's 23 milligrams for 2 deviled eggs.
And here I'll show you, I've got one of the recipes printed, and right here in this box, it's got all of the fee content and the nutrition on it. And like I said, we'll send these out as a PDF to everybody after the class, but you can also find them all on cookforlove.org.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a good plug for Cook for Love. If you are not already using that completely free website, you do have to register, but it's completely free. And they have a paid nutritionist that helps to make sure that all the fee amounts are correct, and everything on there. A lot of it you can buy at regular grocery stores. So if you're not a member of that Cook for Love website, we highly encourage you to join.
Yep, there's lots of different cooks on there, different recipes, and they've started putting on Virginia Schuett's recipes too. So those are going to be on there if you don't have their cookbooks. A lot of those recipes are there.
Okay, well, we want to thank you, Amber. You have an amazing talent of making delicious, low protein food that we can all make today and find our ingredients at the grocery store, which is always a big plus. Seth here would like to give you a personal thank you for what is now his now new favorite, which are the strawberries.
Good. Thank you.
We're down to just a couple left, so they're not going to last very long. But we are so lucky to have someone with your talent in our low protein community, and someone who's willing to share that talent to make our lives so much easier. And we have a bunch of thank yous in the chat from everyone who was able to join us today. So we just want to extend again our big thank you to you for sharing your talents with us to help make our lives just that much easier. And then for everyone, again, on the call, we'll send up a follow-up email with all the information that you need about the recipes. And we're just so grateful that you could enjoy it and join us today.
And please, if you have any great pictures, send them to us on Instagram at Intermountain_PKU. We would love to be able to share this with other people who weren't able to attend. So if you have great pictures of your awesome new low protein recipes, please send them our way. We would love that. And the more we can connect with each other, the better we'll be. So thank you for attending.
Thank you, everybody. Hopefully I can do this again for you guys soon.
We would love that.
Thank you.